Morning. It's time to smoke a butt. What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the Primal Meatstead. We are on the meat porch, cooking a Boston butt on the Recteq. July 4th is coming up, so I want some wonderful pulled pork. Okay, I've got the Boston butt already on there. It's been cooking for about an hour now. I put it on this morning about 5:30. Okay, but importance of preparation. A lot of people don't talk about this. When you're gonna cook something like a Boston butt, it's gonna be a long cook. So last night, after my grill cooled off from cooking dinner, I went ahead and took everything out. Got my shop vac and vacuumed out the whole inside. I didn't want any kind of pellet dust in there. I want to make sure that there's nothing that's going to hinder it from cooking a long time or fluctuating that heat too much. Okay, so that's the first thing. Grill maintenance. Okay, when you're going to do something this long, you don't want to get halfway through it and have to cut the grill off or deal with a flame or anything like that. Okay, same goes with any grill that you're going to have. If you have a charcoal grill, make sure you don't have too much grease in the bottom. Make sure you're not going to get a fire. Okay, you want that temperature to stay as steady as possible. The temperature I'm cooking it at is 250. So 250 for 12 to 15 hours is what that's going to be cooking at. Also, I prepared my Boston butt the night before, as well. Because reason one, I wanted to wake up this morning and get it on there as quick as possible. Reason two, because when I put those seasonings on, the longer it sits, it's going to start marrying into that meat pretty good. But also, it's just preparation, just being prepared. So what I did when I prepared the Boston butt last night, I used two things: Dijon mustard and my seasoning. The seasoning I use is a honey habanero. I always stumble on the habanero part. Honey habanero. It's a delicious seasoning. It's not going to have too much heat to it, especially whenever you break the meat down. It's just going to kind of disperse throughout the meat evenly. It looks like a lot on the outside just because you coat it really nice on the outside for the reason of cooking and making a good bark on the outside. Everybody loves that little, I don't want to say crunch, but a little hardness throughout the meat of your pulled pork. At least I do. Okay? So what I did this morning when I got up, turned the grill on, as it was warming up, I took the Boston butt out of the refrigerator and let it get to a room temperature-ish, temperature. It didn't sit out too long because Recteq, it gets up the temperature pretty quick. And so, threw that thing on there, and like I said, it's been about an hour now. Now, as much as I would enjoy being able to sit on the meat porch and hang out all day, drinking some brewskis, 12 to 15 hours, right? I just can't. Not today. I got my buddy's truck I got to work on, so I'm going to do that while this thing cooks for a while. I'm going to come back every now and then and spritz it with some apple cider vinegar. It's just that simple. Then, when it's done cooking, we're going to make our own sauce. It's not mustard, and it's not ketchup. Okay? I love those two. I love barbecue sauce, but I love my vinegar sauce that I make. It's delicious. It's got a great flavor. Kids love it. I use it on my ribs. So that's what we're going to use. So stick around, and you'll see how we make that. Well, that was done a lot quicker than I thought. So that's my buddy's truck. He's out of town this weekend, and a little bit into next week. And his washer fluid reservoir is leaking, and he asked me to look at it, and we're going to have to replace the whole thing. So I had to put it back in, and we're going to order a piece. But yeah, man stuff. That's what we do here on the Primal Meatstead. Man stuff. So guess what I get to do now? Smoke meat, drink beers, and watch TV. But I'm going to spritz the meat. It's been about, it's 9 o'clock, about 3.5 hours. So yeah, I've been spritzing it probably about every hour or so. I'm going to spritz it. Spritzy, little spritzy spritz. That sun's going to focus. Look good. You know, look at it. Take a look at that. It is looking nice. It's looking nice. Temperature right now is about 180. I don't really trust those probes. Basically, I start pulling on that shoulder bone, and then I kind of decide where we're at. But shoulder bone's starting to poke out a little bit. It looks like it'll come out clean after a rest, but I'm going to let it go for just a little bit longer. So it's time for us to make the barbecue sauce. It's not, I guess I wouldn't call it barbecue sauce, just the base, vinegar base. I guess it would still be barbecue sauce on it. The pulled pork goodness is what it is. There is still ketchup in it, okay? I know I talked to you about ketchup base versus vinegar base, but it's not even, or ketchup base versus mustard base. But this isn't a base. This is an addition. The base is the vinegar, the outside of vinegar. So I pour that in here. It's about a cup. Then we take this one, squeeze. About half a cup. And then we take our brown sugar. About 3. So this is a half tablespoon, so tablespoon and a half. Honestly, these measurements are just kind of made up because we're really just gonna make this to our liking. So you get a little whisk it together, and honestly, it's like whatever tastes good to you. So it needs a little more sugar. You don't want it too vinegary. You don't want it too like kind of like spicy. You just want to. The ketchup was right. Ketchup was good. It's really just the sweetness. That sugar is what's going to cut down on that acidity. Oh yeah, there we are. There we are. And you just whisk it together like that. Boom. Perfect. So what I just did right there is probably, so a little over a cup of vinegar, about half a cup of ketchup, and then, so what did I do? It was a tablespoon and a half, and then, so 2.5 tablespoons of brown sugar. Honestly, you just make it to your liking. Once we get that out, let it rest, and then rip it apart, that's when you'll add the wonderfulness. But I'll show you what the butt's looking like. Look right there. You see that bone? Right there. It's starting to look like it wants to pull away. It's got a good crust on it. It's looking real good. Really good. Honestly, if you take... So we'll take our other meat probe. Put it in there. It's still like 181. Yeah, see? I mean, it's still good. Like, we're getting those pieces up, of course. You get closer to the 200 mark. You get closer to the bone, you're going to get closer to heat. 180, 182. So, where that probe is probably still decently right. 182 on this. 170 on the probe. So just give yourself a little bit of leeway. Like I said, I really like to look at that bone. Once that shoulder bone, like shoulder plate really, is what I would guess you would consider it, starts to pull away, and it looks like you could easily pull it out with no meat left on it. You're looking good. So what time is it? It's time for lunch. It's 4 o'clock. It's 4:03. So we got another 30 minutes or so before it's been on there for 12 hours. It's a 12 to 15 hour cook. So, like I said, you got a little bit of leeway. Aluminium. Come on, man. Seriously. Oh, I see. Oh, they got these little taps. Oh, look at there. Look at that one. Okay. And now we're gonna let it rest and just continue to cook for just a minute. That way it'll cool off. Saves your fingers whenever you're trying to peel it, unless you got those like claw things. I don't have those claw things, but fingers crossed that that shoulder bone just whoop, pulls right out, and I can impress you guys. It's time to pull the bone. Time to pull the bone. You ready for this? You ready for this? Dun, 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 Yeah. Oh God, that's a fresh bone right there. Yo! Ooh, it's still hot. Ooh. Still hot. And then we gotta take our lovely juice. There we go. And we're gonna mix it up. And then the last thing you do is eat it. So good. We've got some brioche buns inside that we're going to make some sandwiches with. It'll be delicious. This is so good. Like I said, that honey habanero seasoning I started off with, once you mix it all together, you just get like a very fine hint of like a heat. It's just it's more of a flavor. It's delicious, good stuff. So appreciate you hanging out.